for this mystical victory over this evil sea goddess Tiamat. During a coup, the new king was crowned for the current monarch. For the current monarch's rule extended, the king practiced a public ritual of humiliation during which he was brought before the statue of Martyr. He was stripped of his robe, slapped, and dragged by the ears in the hope of making him cry. If he cried, this was seen as a sign that Martyr was satisfied and extended his rule. This is total garbage. There's no such thing as a god Martyr. It's all mythical. It's all made up fantasy. The new calendar. And the modern celebration of New Year's Day originated from the Roman celebration of the god Janus. That's where you get your name of the word January. All the months of the year has up a Greek or Roman pagan god name. As is the case with every major holiday, New Year's Day corresponded with the start of a new season, in this case, the vernal equinox. The Romans used a calendar consisting of 10 months and 304 days, which each new year beginning in the spring. Over the centuries, the calendar fell out of sync with the sun, so in 46 BC, Julius Caesar solved the problem. He consulted with mathematicians and astronomers to create a new calendar based on the sun, which resembles the modern Gregorian calendar. So even that calendar that we use today, with the 12 months of the year, that's not our real calendar. We as Israelites, we worship things by the moon. The moon determines our months. The season instituted January 1st as the first day of the year, partially in honor of the month's namesake Janus, the Roman god of change and beginnings. This god's full name is Janus Bifrons, meaning the god who looked both ways. It explains why Janus had two faces as a representation of his ability to look back into the past and forward into the future. This idea was tied to the concept of tradition from one year to the next, from one vision to the next, and growth into adulthood. He was also worshipped at the beginning of harvest season, planting time, marriages, births, deaths, etc. Sometimes referred as Deum Dio, God of gods, Janus presided over the creation of religion, life, and other gods. For this reason, he was regarded as the most important Roman god. His name was first uttered in praise before even than Jupiter. Jupiter was what they call in Greek mythology, they call Zeus, when in Rome is Jupiter. He inaugurated the season of which the first of each month was considered sacred to him. The Roman temple in Rome, erected in Janus' honor, was called I.S.U.P.K. Geminus. Worship of Janus traditionally dates back to Romulus, even before the founding of Rome. January 7th was the day of his festival called Agonium. Early Romans featured him on coins with one face clean-shaven and the other bearded. During the Renaissance, this two-faced image not only represented the past and the future, but also wisdom. The porter's staff and a set of keys with the symbols represent Janus because he was the gatekeeper. That's why the Latinized name for Janus, Ionis, is derived from Iahua, meaning door. So he was the god of doors, the god of beginning and endings. Mm-hmm. This is what New Year's is really about. This is what you're celebrating. Gates in Rome named after Janus was open during times of war and closed during times of peace. Because of Rome constant warring, the gates also closed twice from the 7th to 1st century BC. These gates were called Janai, which represented ceremonial gateways. Usually they were freestanding structures that served as symbolic entrances and exits. These gates were also the subject of superstition. The Roman army had to depart by marching through a Janus. The most famous Janus in Rome was Janus Geminus, which was actually a shrine. All right, now we're gonna get some of the pagan traditions of Rome. This is the origin of New Year's. This is why in reading the I.S.U.P.K, we don't celebrate New Year's or any other height of our oppressors because it roots back into pagan customs. And like I said in Jeremiah, learn not the way of the heathen because the customs are vain, they're pointless. You want to worship something, keep the Passover that's coming up, keep the Feast of Purim that's coming up, or we had the Feast of Dedication or Hanukkah. These are biblical. These are the days of our ancestors and not the New Year's Day. Romans celebrate January 1st by offering sacrifice to Janus in hopes of gaining good fortune in the new year. They decorated their homes with laurel branches and spent the day partying. It was common for friends and family to exchange well wishes and give figs and honey. Gifts were exchanged because they believed the beginning of anything was an omen for the whole. So all that Happy New Year stuff when people say that nowadays, that comes from Rome. Happy New Year. Best of New Year's with you, brother. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Best of New Year's to you. That's where that comes from. Cakes made of spelt salt was offered to Janus and burnt at the altar. This was not only done during the New Year celebrations, but also on the first of each month. Kissing at the moment of transition into the next year is rooted in pagan sexual practice and superstition. Now, everybody knows about that. You have the person who they would say, kiss the closest person to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you had some clubs on each other, and you grab some woman that you don't even know and kiss her. That comes from Roman customs. Watch night services were conducted to watch out for evil spirits who were believed to roam the earth during those times. Hence comes the tradition of staying up to ring in the new year. That's also coming. People do that a lot to this day. They don't sleep during the new year. They stay awake during the new year, do past the stroke of midnight. Happy New Year and all that because they want to ward away evil spirits.
Right.
Eating pork, our people, and black-eyed peas on New Year's Day originates from the homage to Janus. His mythological wife, Karna, goddess of human organs, was honored during her festival with a dish of fava beans and pork bacon. The pea/beans symbolize rebirth, and pork and swine was a preferred sacrificial meat to the gods. In the medieval Europe, New Year's Day celebration was deemed pagan, so that in 567 AD, the Council of Tours abolished January 1st celebration. It got replaced with more religious days such as December 25th, Christmas, and March 25th, or the spring Germanic fertility rites. In an attempt to Christianize January celebration, the Catholic Church, the evil, wicked Catholic Church, created the festive circumcision. Suppose this day venerated Christ's 8th day of life, following Jewish tradition. In 1582, after the Gregorian calendar was created, Pope Gregory VIII established January 1st as the New Year's Day. So this is Catholic tradition. It was originally abolished by Europeans, but they wanted to bring it in. So they started making more about Jesus Christ, things like that. That's what the Catholic Church have done. They're taking pagan customs that they wanted to do and mixing in with Bible references, like, it's not the worship of Janus, it's worship of Jesus, it's worship of this, worship of that. That's why we're doing it. That's just a lie to the people, to make the people accept it, so they can keep giving their tithes and their offerings on it to make themselves rich. Protestant countries gradually adopted the calendar, except for Britain, who did not embrace it until 1752. Before that, the Empire, along with the American calendar, still observed New Year in March. That's it on that. Now we're going to get some scripture. Go to Amos 5:21. Let's see how God feels about this.
Amos chapter 5, verse 21. Let's see. Let's see. Where you at? All right, I got it. Amos chapter 5, verse 21. Oh, it popped up. I despise your feast days.
Go ahead.
And I will not smell in your solemn assembly.
That's like God hates New Year's Day. He hates you jumping up and down there saying Happy New Year, because that's the beginning of the year. And nor did God, even the New Year, the real New Year in the Bible, nor did God tell you to celebrate that either. He despises your feast days, and he's not selling yourself. So all that pork you eating, so like in that prayer that you doing, stuff like that on New Year's Day, God don't hear that prayer, and God don't like that the smell of that pork or that whatever you cooking for your New Year's party. He hates the smell of it. Go to Deuteronomy 32:16.
Come. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 16. Two, 16. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 16. I provoked him to jealousy with a strange gods, with abomination. Provoked they him to anger.
As I see that, God's provoked to anger because of what we do. We worship the God Janus in these New Year's times. You know what I'm saying? When you say Happy New Year and things like that, you worship the God Janus. You worship a Roman god. Read on.
Come. Verse 17. They sacrifice unto devils, not to God, to gods who they knew not.
See that? We sacrifice to them, to gods who we knew not. Abraham, Isaac, they didn't worship the God Janus. They didn't do that. Elijah, Elisha, Jesus Christ, Peter, Paul, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. They didn't worship the God. They worship the Most High Yahweh in the name of Yahweh. So that's what they worship. This is gods that we have not known. Keep on.
To new gods that came newly up, whom their father feared not.
You see that? Who their father? Like I said, these are new gods that came. This is new in the earth. Janus is new in the earth. Worship New Year's is new in the earth. I mean, that's supposed to be doing. That's an ancient Babylonian custom. Who are not our people. Read on.
Come. Verse 18. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and have forgotten God that formed thee.
And so we have forgotten the Most High who have formed us, man. We've forgotten our part. That's why we die in the streets. I'm sure if you put on the news, CNN, it's some killing that went on in some black neighborhood last night or some Hispanic neighborhood last night over this New Year's garbage. That's the Lord punishing us for not keeping His high holy, but worshiping the holidays of the heathen. Keep going.
Verse 19, and when the Most High saw it, he abhorred him because of the provoting of his son and his daughters.
That's right. Go ahead.
Verse 20, and he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what therein shall be.
And see that? He's gonna hide our face from us, man. That's the Most High doing right. He's hiding our face from us. So when you say Happy New Year, don't say them when your prayers don't get answered. Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't say them when your prayers don't get answered. You got a Bible up there, Ashar? I mean, Parasa, a Bible?
It's in the back. It's in the back.
Oh, slot.
It should be on the red Bible right there. Let me grab it.
No, I got it. You said verse 16? Verse 18. Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed. We have forgotten the Most High who have formed us, man. We've forgotten our true power, who we're supposed to worship. We're not supposed to be worshiping these pagan gods, these heathen customs like that, man. It's just filthy and disgusting. So don't say that when your prayers don't get answered. Like the scriptures say, he who turns his ear from hearing the law, even his prayers shall be an abomination. God, our people out there, God hates our prayers, man, because we're not keeping the Lord's statutes. And we continually worship these heathen days. Verse 19. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see that their end shall be, for they are a very fraud generation. Children is whom is no fear. So we are fraud generation, man. And he hide our face from us. And that's why they don't say them when you get killed in these holidays, man. Something always happen in the blacks and without fail. Something always happen in the blacks and the American Indian communities. Somebody got shot, somebody got beat up, somebody got stabbed, somebody got robbed, because we're not supposed to be celebrating these days. These are not our days, man. These are not our customs. Verse 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not a God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those who are not a people. I'll provoke them to anger with their foolishness. And he did that. Yeah, he did that too. The Most High is really don't go out, boy, man. He provokes them with a foolish. The white man is foolish, man. He pollutes the same water he got to drink. He pollutes the air that he has to breathe. He's a fool, but he's on top of us. He's our oppressor. Why is that? Because we don't want to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We don't want to stop. We don't want to worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. We don't want to do that. We want to do our own thing. We want to have fun. And New Year's is fun because America says it's fun. Because our oppressor says it's fun. So we jump up and down, say Happy New Year, and worship the God Janus. They don't say that when we get destroyed. Verse 22. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn to the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundation of the mountain. So he has fires. A fire is kindled in his anger, man. The Most High is hot. He's burning because what we doing as people, man. Christ needs to come back soon as possible. You know what I mean? Which he is going to come back soon. I know you've been watching the news. You know what I'm saying? I know you're watching the news, all stuff going to Ukraine, Russia, and all that. All the things that have all the signs is coming, man. Christ's going to come back and put this world all right. But in the meantime, we got to do our part. We got to start worshiping these heathens. Verse 23. I will heap mischief upon them. I will spend my arrows upon it. He shall heap mischief upon us, man. And spend the arrow with that gunshot, that bullet. That's the modern day arrow. He gonna have bullet that you get in your back. That cop that put his knee on your neck. That's the heaping of mischief that he gonna do, man. That's what he gonna do to us, man, because we keep worshiping these holidays and breaking his law, statutes, and commandments. Verse 24. They shall be burnt with hunger and devoured with burning heat and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, and the poisonous serpents of their dust. I get that. He's going to send the other nations on us, man, to destroy us. And he has done it, man. We are destroyed as a people, man. And we're not helping our cause by going out and saying Happy New Year to everybody and kissing the first person you see and doing all this fornication and idolatry that we're doing. in these last days. We got to stop it. Verse 25. The sword without terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. The young, the old, our women, everybody gonna get destroyed. Remember, God don't have respected persons, man. He will destroy you regardless of what you are, because he said he didn't want to do anything, and we continue to do it. We're gonna go to Exodus 12 and 1. And we're gonna get with a real New Year. Not that we're supposed to celebrate, but let's see what the Most High has to say when the New Year's is. When our New Year is. Exodus 12 and 1. Exodus 12, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. See that? And now this is the preparation of the Passover. And everybody know Passover is in the springtime, around end of March, early April, depending on how when the moon fall. That's the beginning of a month. That's the beginning of our years. Let's go to Leviticus 23 and 5. Let's show you that the Passover was, it says in the first of the month. Leviticus 23, verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at the even is the Passover. The first month is April. This year, Passover is April 1st. Next year may fall around April something else, or maybe March 30, something like that. But usually around that time, that's the beginning of our months. That's what we're supposed to do. That's not that we jump down and have a party for a new year, but that's the beginning of our year. The beginning of our year is not January and dead of it. It makes sense. There's common sense. You got in the springtime, things the leaves are starting to grow back in, the flowers are starting to bloom. And in wintertime, what? In January, what? Everything's dead. Ain't no leaves on the trees, nothing like that. Go to Galatians 4 and 10. There's no leaves on the tree, everything's dying. The birds flew south for the winter. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. The bees aren't pollinating the flowers, things like that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense for things to start like that. You know what I'm saying? Things that start in the beginning in springtime when the things starting to bud and grow and bloom, things like that. That's life. That's how life is. You know what I mean? Go to Galatians 4, verse 10. We're gonna end it with that.
Galatians chapter 4, verse 10. Ye observe days and month and times and years.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. I am afraid of you, lest I have bestowed upon you labor in vain.
That's what Paul's saying to the Galatians right there, because he said you observe days and months and times. You know what I mean? You observing the month of Janus. You observing Christmas with the worship of Nimrod and that tree. You observing your birthday. You observing the zodiac signs. He said, I'm afraid of you unless I'm so late to you in vain, man. After all I taught you, you gonna do something like this? Are you crazy? That's what those of us in the truth, but those who have fell out the truth, because you want to do your own thing. You don't want to come up under your, you want to worship the god Janus. You want to celebrate your birthday. You want to believe in astrology and things like that. All that is coincide. All that's mixed in together. All that's mixed in together. Paul said, I'm afraid of you, man. That's so leaving you in vain, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to end it with that. Let's see here. Remember, Passover was April 1st. North Carolina, pay your tithes. Pay your Passover fund, $200. $200 for everybody 17 and older. April 1st is the Passover. Come. Break bread with us. It's a commandment of the Lord for all Blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans to gather. Come down, enjoy the break bread with us, and enjoy your brothers and your sisters. Shalom.
Let's see here.